everyone. My name is Darcy Johnson. I am currently the CASPA past president and also the loan coordinator at Emporia State University, and I'll be serving as your moderator today. We are joined by Amanda Duffy and Faye Zimmerman. And Amanda, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself. You're muted.
You would think after almost 2 years of this. Hi, everyone. My name is Amanda Duffy, and I am the scholarship specialist here at Wichita State University, and I am one of your co-presenters.
And Faye?
Hi, my name is Faye Zimmerman. I am the financial aid loan specialist at Seward County Community College in Liberal, Kansas.
I will ask that everyone keep their cameras turned off and their microphones muted during the presentation. And if you have questions, feel free to put those into chat and I will interject them where appropriate for our expert presenters. So with that, Amanda, Faye, take it away.
Okay, let me go ahead and get this pulled up and I'll share it. Oh, wrong button. Sorry, I am still learning this, believe it or not. Okay, I'm gonna turn that off. Okay, maybe. Okay, so we're going to go through Searching for Lost Treasure, the How to Find Scholarships 101. Can everyone see the screen? Are we good?
You're good.
Okay, so is college really worth it? As you can see, on average, you can make an extra $645 a week more with a bachelor's degree than you can just coming out of high school or not even finishing high school. You can see as our chart here, the unemployment rates and the earnings by the educational attainment from 2018. The unemployment rates for those that have less than a high school diploma are far greater than those that have like a doctoral degree or even a bachelor's degree. And you can see the average earnings by each degree major there. And this is data for persons over the age of 25 that are in full-time or salary workers. So how do you pay for college? Approximately 75% of students receive financial aid to pay for college. There's out-of-pocket expenses. You have scholarships, grants, and work study. Most of those are the need-based program. You also have loans, parent loans, and then private loans. There's also some other funding such as cash savings and 529 plans, institutional state or community, the federal, state, and institutional funds, any federal community funds, the federal student, federal parent, and student parent stuff. So FAFSA, it begins October 1st of every year. The FAFSA is what qualifies you mainly for the Pell Grants, the FSEOG, and other need-based such as student loans or federal work study. There are state grants from the Kansas Board of Regents. I highly encourage any student to try and check those out to see what kind of grants and scholarships they have available. And then financial aid is a supplement when your family's resources just aren't enough. So the FAFSA will give you that EFC, that expected family contribution. The financial aid is to supplement that EFC. And scholarships, it's all about you filling out this scholarship stuff. So build a resume. The resume can include all your education and scholastic achievements, all your life experience, trainings, employment, any honors or awards or memberships that you have been a part of, any leadership or community service agreements, all your career ambitions, the statement of goals, and any references. I know here at Seward County, we have many donors that set up kind of specific criterion for their scholarships. So putting as much information into your resume, like your educational experience, any honors, might match you up with specific scholarships that are for general students. So try and put as much of yourself into this resume as you can to get the most out of that. Okay, Amanda, do you want me to switch off here?
Yeah, you can. That's fine.
I will let you take this one.
All right. Okay, essays and activities. What should be on your wall? And no, I'm not referring to your Facebook wall. First of all, let's start with self-evaluation. This is a self-reflecting step that might take a bit of time. Essentially, you need to ask yourself, what makes you who you are? Is it your personal background, past experiences, part-time job opportunities, or thinking about your future? It all matters when getting ready to draft and revise essays. Discuss an issue of importance to you. Is there a topic that excites you or feeds your passion? Prepare an essay on the subject. It could be about the environment, raising awareness against drunk driving, or even video games. Next is career goals. What, why, and how? By chance, did you know at the age of 11 you wanted to be a teacher? Or did you know at the age of 16 that you wanted to pursue a career in HVAC? Be specific on what you see yourself doing after college. How will you reach that goal? And why did you choose that career? These details matter. Next, highlight long-term commitments and leadership roles. Be sure to include any activity or activities that you've been involved with for a while. It shows that you just don't hop around your commitments. Also include activities that show leadership roles. This is huge when it comes to essays and involvement. Highlight these great opportunities that you've been involved in. Next, divide and conquer. When it comes to essays and activities, it's important to focus on these areas: school activities and organizations, community service, as well as work experience, and also the time commitments, all of those included. It might be helpful to keep track of these items in an Excel spreadsheet or other document for ease and safekeeping. Colleges, scholarship organizations, and companies that sponsor those scholarships want to see how involved you are besides going to school each day. All of this to say, who are you outside the classroom? Where do I find them? So now that you have thought through your high school activities and other extracurricular activities, it's time to go out there and find scholarships to apply for. You may be asking, well, that seems like a lot of work. Well, it is, but this is free money we're talking about. You have to put a little time into applying for scholarships. Therefore, we advise here at Wichita State that students consider searching for scholarships as a part-time job. If a student spends, say, 1 hour applying for a $1,000 scholarship and he wins the contest, he just made $1,000 an hour. You see, it's all about perspective and sweat equity. Did you know that if you Google college scholarships, you'll get over 746 million results? Let's just say there's a smarter way to look for lost treasure. Let me explain several great ways to find free money for college. So where do you start? I recommend that students start searching for scholarships at the college or university that they're interested in attending. The financial aid office is the greatest resource out there for them for federal financial aid, scholarships, and grants. The Kansas Board of Regents also has a special webpage for their scholarships that they offer through their organization. And speaking of organizations, students can look into their local organizations for opportunities. For example, here in Wichita, there is a Wichita Community Foundation that we can recommend Wichita area students to apply for their scholarships. Next, does the student work for pay? Some employers who offer scholarships or tuition reimbursements for their employees, and they also offer it for like the parents of dependent students, whether it's either a scholarship or tuition reimbursement. Another great resource that I think is incredibly handy for high school students is their high school counselor. The person with this title is like Superman or Superwoman because they have all the tips and tricks they have acquired over the years. And sometimes they hear of scholarship opportunities that I, in scholarships in general, don't hear of. That's how good they are of a resource. Next, I would also recommend Scholly. Have you heard of it before? It is the #1 college scholarship app in the world and has helped students win more than $100 million. And it's also been seen on Shark Tank. A new student can spend 5 minutes to tell Scholly what makes you, you. Their proprietary scholarship matching algorithm is able to match the student with life-changing scholarships based on the student's interest, accomplishments, and unique traits. It does cost, but this is a legit company who's doing actually the legwork of searching for scholarships for the student. And no, I do not get paid for that endorsement, but I do find that it's a very helpful resource for our students. And last but not least, a student can utilize scholarship search engines such as FastWeb and MoneyGeek to help fund their education. This option does take a lot of time just searching for a scholarship to apply for, and then the student has to apply for the scholarship through the organization's application and/or website. Now you can see why that we recommend that a student treats searching for scholarships as a part-time job. It takes work to fund college. It may be free money, but the student has to work for it. But I promise it is worth it. Is that safe? Tools for your protection. You've all heard that location, location, location are 3 things that matter in real estate. Well, I'm here to tell you today that the 3 things that matter in searching for lost treasure, AKA scholarships, is read, read, read. In my opinion, that is. You see, it brings me to my first point. Read everything before you apply. You can't recall scholarship applications via the web or ask USPS to give you back your envelope with your scholarship application once you put it in the mailbox. Read it slow and read it once more. Trust me, you will be thankful you did. One little mistake could affect your chances of getting a scholarship. It could be as simple as forgetting to change the name of the college or university you are applying to, and you put the wrong college name. Yep, I've seen that one before, and it's not just been one time. It also helps us search the Better Business Bureau for the organization or company sponsoring the scholarships. This isn't always a guarantee that the company will be listed on the Better Business Bureau, but at least you can say you looked into it. And one of the tricks I used when vetting outside scholarships was to locate the company's physical address from their website and type it into Google Maps. Ever thought of this one before? This allowed me to see if the address provided was a residential or a commercial address and determine if it was a legit company or not. Does the web page have a phone number? Is the company based in the US? These are the things you need to search and find out. Be cautious of outside the United States for a company and organization. Also, you can check other requirements to see if the scholarship is worthy of submitting your information and/or essay. Does the scholarship require likes, like on Facebook, or you sharing a link, or requiring others on social media to determine the recipient of the scholarship by popularity alone? If you answer yes to any of those questions, please don't apply. Does the scholarship require you to relinquish your words or art to the company and it becomes their intellectual property? Don't apply. Is there a fee to apply for the scholarship, or is the scholarship a guarantee? Or does the company offer a free seminar in exchange for a scholarship? Don't apply. All in all, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. Again, it all boils down to read the eligibility requirements and fine print before submitting your application materials to an unknown company and organization. Also, never give out your social security number or your driver's license number or bank account information or debit card or credit card information. And a fast fact for you guys today, forecasts indicate that by 2020, which was last year, that 65% of available jobs in the US will require at least some college. 72% of these will require a bachelor's degree or better. So the question remains, will you be ready? Now is the time to prepare for college by searching for the lost treasure. Your future is ultimately in your hands. On behalf of Faye and I, thank you for joining us, and we want to send a sincere thank you. We know that you have many to-dos on your plate, and adding this event to your day might have been a stretch. So again, thank you.
Thank you, Faye and Amanda, for that wonderful presentation. If anyone has questions for them, please feel free to enter those into the chat. Faye, I know we sent out the question form that they could fill in. Did we have anybody ask questions specifically ahead of time? You're muted.
I checked yesterday and I didn't. Let me go out and check again. I got 0 responses.
Okay. The PowerPoint is, it was asked in the chat, will you be sending out the PowerPoint? It is posted on the CASFA website. Let me show you where you can find that. Okay, so if you are on the CASFA.org website under high school resources and counselor training, under the searching for lost treasure, how to find scholarships, we do have the presentation slides available out there, so you can go ahead and download those. We do have them for our previous sessions as well as the recorded presentation. The recorded presentation for last week's session should be up in the next day or two, and then we'll have the recording from this session available by next week. Right, I will go ahead and drop the link to the chat, or link to the evaluation form in the chat. So we do ask that you take a couple of minutes to fill out that evaluation form for us. We appreciate your feedback, and we use that to build our future sessions. Linda asked in the chat, for the high school counselors joining us today, have you shared information about scholarships with your students? So if anyone wants to unmute themselves and jump in for a conversation, we're happy to have that.
My name is Jamie Hancock. I'm a school counselor with USD 330 Mission Valley. We use Going Merry scholarship finding, as well as have a website on our webpage that goes ahead and lists varied scholarships. I also submit emails to the students from FastWeb on monthly scholarships for that they could possibly qualify for.
Great.
My name is Chrissy Johns. I'm a counselor at DeSoto High School in the DeSoto School District. I post all of our scholarships on our high school website and then just send that link out. So we have scholarships that are just for our seniors. Those are usually posted in January and February. But then a lot of just local kind of organizational scholarships that we get, we post on there. And then I just send a reminder out to seniors every once in a while and just say, hey, these scholarships are updated on a regular basis. What's nice about our website is I can set it up so that when the scholarship deadline, like let's say the deadline is December 15th for the scholarship deadline, I can set it so that it goes away off of our website on the 15th. So I don't have to go in and manage a lot of that. So once I post it, I can put a start or even an end date.
That's great. That sounds very convenient. Another great tip that we had in the chat is that they post scholarships on their social media and bulletin boards, as well as they have a running Google Sheet that students have access to so that they can just log in to that Google Sheet in real time and see information. Amanda, Jackie asked, do you know how much the cost is for Scholly?
I don't. It has varied in the past. Originally, it was free, and then they got on Shark Tank and they got an investor, so therefore it costs. Last time I checked, I thought it was about $3.99 per month. So don't quote me on that, but that's a close estimate. And you can cancel, the student can cancel at any point in time. There's no yearly contract. It's just month by month or whenever you want to cancel.
Okay, great. And Linda said, according to the website, it's about $2.92 per month. So that $3. And then it looks like maybe there's some 6-month and annual subscription rates as well. And then Jamie also indicated that Going Merry has a FAFSA completion program that's free and simplifies the FAFSA application process with helpful hints. Which leads me to a reminder about our upcoming sessions. In February, we have the Great Scott session where we're looking not back to the future, but forward into the future. And so we will be talking about the Kansas Promise Act, as well as major changes that are coming to the FAFSA for the 2024-2025 year. I'm sure that some of you have started to see that, and we will have more information about what is known at that point in time that we'll be able to share with you and kind of what to plan looking forward. We'll also talk about what you can do to help your students in the spring as they're getting their financial aid offers and requests from schools for additional paperwork. And then we have our financial literacy session coming up in March. Does anyone else have anything that they'd like to share that they do to help their students find scholarships? Again, feel free to unmute or drop it in the chat.
I'll come up to the front, please. Yep. No, you keep them on.
Another question for our counselors today. Do you find that students are motivated to look for scholarships? Do they want to do that legwork?
This is Chrissy Johns again from DeSoto. I think it sounds appealing, but then I think once they start looking into it and realizing the amount of time that they have to do, they quickly get defeated. And so, like, I remember a couple of years ago, we had Larry Mader, he was the director of financial aid at K-State, come out, and he said that he had kids that would come in with several $1,000s in outside scholarships. And he said, you know, to the parents, how did you get your kid? Like, where did this come from? Obviously motivation and drive, but parents said we made them treat scholarship searching like a part-time job, that they had to spend 1 to 2 hours a week, if not more, looking for scholarships. And I think, and I tell students that, I'm like, you have to treat it like a part-time job if you want the money. And if you put the legwork in, it will pay off. But, and you guys all know this, like, they have to write an essay and they don't want to do that. Well, you know, scholarship money isn't free. I mean, it's free, but you have to do something to get it. And so I mean, it's great that our universities offer the merit scholarships just based off the ACTs and the GPAs, but we know that only covers a portion of it. And so kids just, I don't know, I feel like that's just kind of a revolving door with kids, is they just don't want to do the legwork. And a lot of our kids are super busy, you know, they play 3 sports a year and they're involved in clubs and activities. And so, you know, the last thing they want to do at night is go look for a scholarship. So that's just my thoughts.
Right. And as a financial aid administrator, I will share with you, please encourage your students to start looking for scholarships early, even start looking during their junior year so that they know when their senior year rolls around what's available out there and when the applications will open. A lot of our institutional scholarships have application deadlines of February or March for the following school year. And I don't think we're alone in that. I think most institutions have that earlier deadline. And so when I have students come into my office in June and they're like, what scholarships can you give me? And it's like, you missed the deadline because you waited until after your senior year was over. And, you know, they're very disappointed because, again, it's, Chrissy, to what you said, it's not kind of top of mind because they've got so much other stuff going on. But I think we need to, you know, explain that process to them and help them understand that. I've also wondered, you know, can you, in a senior English class, can writing a scholarship essay be an assignment? And then they have that prepared and ready, and that may help them go out and look for scholarships. So, you know, can that be turned into some of the work in the classroom as well?
I'd like to also add to that conversation that one of the hardest things to have to do come June and July, or even August, we see a lot in August, students and parents come into our offices and say, how are we going to pay for this? And I asked, did you apply for scholarships? I mean, have you done the legwork? And a lot of them say no. And like Darcy said, it's not in the forefront of their mind in junior, senior year, but it's gonna be the forefront of their mind come a month or two before school. And that's the hard conversation that we have to have then. If you don't have scholarships, your options are very limited. Parents may not have saved for college, so therefore you have to mention loans as an option on how to pay. Some institutions offer like a payment plan. Not everyone does. I know Wichita State does offer to our students as a convenience and parents, but it's yet again the hard conversation to have in the end, whereas we could be proactive and end that crazy cycle of rush, rush, rush and last minute if we just prep ahead of time and start working a lot in. I know you guys do a lot in the high schools, but it's the hard conversation here at a college to have with a student and parent. So I love the idea of the part-time job. I know I mentioned it in my presentation as well as Christine did as well. I love all those ideas about treating it as a part-time job. That's just what they're going to have to do. Just get over it and just do it. Suck it up, Buttercup.
Another question that we have is it true that a lot of scholarship dollars go unused each year? And if so, approximately how much goes unused? Amanda, Faye, do you know that information?
I don't know detail, specific numbers. I don't, but I guarantee you, if we already have FAFSAs with free Pell money go unused, I guarantee you there's far more scholarships that go unused too. And that's why I tell students, okay, I tell you to read the fine print and see if you're eligible. Okay, maybe you're not eligible fully, but apply anyway, because maybe their applicant pool that they received all the eligible students for, maybe they didn't like, one didn't stand out, but the one student who applied that may have been like 1 point off the GPA, but applied and had a stellar essay and shocked the committee, that person may get that scholarship. So my recommendation is, it may be that you didn't qualify for it, I would still apply anyway, because the worst thing that they're going to do, they're just going to put the name aside and not consider that student, but maybe they will. It's worth the time and effort.
Kay just mentioned a great event that they have held where they hold a workshop that students can come work on scholarships, and they are there to help them and provide snacks. And so they call it Snacks and Apps, and hold it on days that they don't have school but are working. So kind of some of those teacher work days. A couple years ago it was well attended, and last year it was held and no one showed up, which I think was par for the course in events that we had as well. Which leads me into a question that Linda posed. Those of you who are working with these high school seniors, do you think there's a way that as a college community we can communicate with these students that the scholarship application process really isn't as hard and daunting or as they think, or it really is worth it to take that time?
I think the main issue that you would be coming across is students seeing that I don't think it's like goes almost like a learned hopelessness or helplessness. That when it comes to scholarships, they're already believing that they're not going to get it. And so when it comes to completing the scholarships, they don't see that, and they live in these 6-hour bubbles, our high school students, and probably some college students as well. And so if they don't see the immediate return on that investment, it's hard for them to go ahead and want to put forth the motivation to go ahead and complete it. Part of what we do here at Mission Valley is we have a advisory hour, which I kind of typed in the chat, and I put up these assignments for our seniors and our juniors and all them, for them to go, and they actually get graded for getting these assignments done. So it's kind of tricking them into go ahead and seeing the purpose behind completing the assignment because they get a grade for it. But at the same time, there's a long-term gain from it because just filling out the application process.
Those are some great ideas. And go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, what I've noticed in our area, the Southwest Kansas specific, is we have a lot of very small scholarships, $100, $200. And a lot of the students don't think that it's enough, so they don't apply for it. So we always tell our high schools when we're doing the visits, if you come across a $100 scholarship and you have to write a 100-word essay on why Crest toothpaste is your favorite, go ahead and do it. Like $100 will pay for one book. That's one book you don't have to buy. So that's just what we see in our area is we have a lot of companies offering such small scholarships and they don't think it's worth it. But I mean, still a little scholarship is better than no scholarship is what we try to tell our students.
And talking about that return on investment, the Rudd Foundation has a great 4-year full ride scholarship. It takes, they are up front. It takes grit and determination to fill out that application and go through that process. But think about graduating debt-free. It is definitely worth it if one of your students' top schools is Fort Hays, Wichita, or Emporia. So that one's definitely, in my mind, where it's going to take a lot of work, but it's going to be worth it in the long run. And so, I think being able to frame it like that is just really, yes, it's a lot of work, but think about what your future can hold. And maybe if we, reform how we're talking to them and say, yes, it's a lot of work now, but to graduate debt free and be able to start in a job and be able to buy a car or buy a house or start a family immediately and not have that student loan payment hanging over your head, it's hopefully we can get them to see. I know sometimes it's very difficult for them to see more than, as Jamie said, 6 hours in front of them. So
I try to use my husband as an example. mainly because he got his master's, and throughout his associate's, bachelor's, master's, he only paid $1,000 because he took the time to fill out all those little piddly dollar scholarships. He said he filled out hundreds of apps. So I try to tell our local kids, because my husband's a teacher, they know him. I'm like, hey, he got 7 years worth of education, only paid $1,000 because he took the time. So it is worth it in the end if you only have to come up with a couple thousand, maybe. So that's what I try and tell our kids as well.
And just to chime into that, when I became school counselor here, I started changing the entire mindset from looking at college as a educational institution, but more as a vocational institution, and how we look at certain products and services that we receive from Walmart. And I tell them, if you go to Walmart and you're going to spend a certain amount of money, you're going to want to expect something in return from that product to perform what you need to do. So we start changing the entire conversation and looking at college as a business decision, and how they can go ahead and end up actually making money from college rather than spending.
Mhm.
And so you start seeing the kids, and it registers with money spent from a business decision rather than, well, that's just my next step in life. Well, yeah, it's the next step, but it's the next business step. And so then they start looking at it from a business perspective and figuring out how they can go ahead and find ways to make it as profitable as possible.
That's great. Thanks for sharing, Jamie. Anyone else have any thoughts or questions that they'd like to share? Amanda, Faye, any last thoughts?
Thank you all for your participation today. It was very welcomed.
And once again, I have put the link that directs to the evaluation form in the chat. So we do appreciate if you would fill that out. And again, thank you so much for the great discussion. I love that we were able to come together and be able to share our thoughts and ideas with each other, because that's how we work together as a community. So thank you all very much.